With the new Datsun Redi-Go having driven in, how does it fare with its rivals? Let's take a look and find out. This is the highest volume segment in the Indian car bazaar, and it is still clearly ruled by the mighty Maruti Suzuki Alto family. The Alto 800, which dominates the Citadel, has recently been facelifted and now offers a bit extra. Now, the Maruti Suzuki Alto remains the country's top-selling model by a mile. So you might think that Maruti wasn't really worried about this huge, massive assault that was launched by Renault and the success that the Kwid has had. But Maruti was worried, and which is why before you can go in for a generation change on the 800, on the Alto 800, there was some extra tweaking. Remember, the facelift has already happened, the big change has already happened, but there is now another change, which is fairly subtle in terms of styling. You can see that it's really this shape of the bumper that's the most prominent, different sort of looking part of the car. You have new colors. There's a very bright green and there's this reasonably bright blue. And of course, here on the Kwid, you can see a lot of accessorizing that's been done with the chrome, which apparently a lot of buyers are opting for. Now, in the middle of all this comes the new entrant, the car that's hoping to challenge not just the market leader, but also its own cousin. And that car is the all-new Datsun Redi-Go that shares its architecture with the Kwid. But this is no cross-badged product, as the common platform doesn't really show up at all in most of what you see and touch. Some bits and switches inside are common though. The Redi-Go is quite a good-looking car, a bold face, large and well-sculpted headlamps, even LED daytime running lights in the bumper. Now, looks are always going to be subjective, but there is no doubt that this car, the Redi-Go, looks the most modern and the most contemporary and the most stylish. But there is something to be said about the nice wide, almost SUV-like stance and proportions that the Kwid has definitely got a lot of attention for, and one of the reasons why it's so popular. So the Kwid wins that round on practicality, while the Redi-Go trounces the other two in the beauty sweepstakes. Inside the cabin too, the Redi-Go is a lot more stylish, and that is despite the fact that it is very obviously a budget model. Seeing the body panel peeping through these very slim magazine racks on the doors, for instance, is really quite pathetic. Cost saving on some basic cladding there. The Kwid has the best sense of space, and its digital cluster is funky and modern. The Alto has most of what the other two do, yet comes across as the most basic and dated. The Kwid also has the largest boot amongst the three cars. Under the hood, the Kwid and the Redi-Go are identical. Both use the same 799cc 3-pot that makes 53 bhp, and it offers segment best mileage of 25.17 kilometers per litre. Now, it's the same engine as the Kwid, but for some reason it doesn't sound so good in this car, and overall the NVH levels on the Redi-Go are pretty subpar. So the whole car, the whole experience of driving this car is just kind of noisy, and the AC fan just makes it worse, because even on the first position it's got this little hiss to it which is disturbing and just not okay. Having said that, it's a fairly efficient AC, but you also have the other advantage, which is that this is definitely the most striking, most well-designed and most stylish cabin. Plastic quality seems a little bit good too compared to the other two cars, and everything feels nice, including all the stalks and the switchgear. The other good thing about the Redi-Go's cabin is that because of the extra height of the roof, which is kind of exaggerated in the design on the outside, you get a good sense of space on the inside too. So the cabin feels a little roomier and airier as well, which obviously in this segment is a huge positive. The Kwid appears to have better sound insulation between the engine bay and cabin, so the engine doesn't sound as wheezy as it does on the Redi-Go. The gear lever also has a more solid feel. The Kwid certainly feels the most ample. It's got the most substantial feel of the three cars. It feels bigger than its rivals in terms of how it drives. It feels wider and definitely handles almost superbly in comparison to the other two. The Alto now and its trusty old 800cc engine continues to be efficient and surprisingly fun. The gearbox feels a bit crude now though. It's almost instant. You get into this car and it's very obviously the least refined product of the three. It's got this tin can like feel to it. It comes through. You get a lot of feedback from the road, feedback that you don't want. And the steering wheel is just kind of squishy. There's too much play in it. It doesn't have a nice sort of solid tight feel to it. Those are the really bad bits. But there are two very strong redeeming factors for the Alto 800. The first is that it's the zippiest of the three. It certainly is, and maybe you can just put that down to the fact that Suzuki knows what it's doing when it comes to petrol engines. And the second thing which stands out instantly in this horrendously hot summer that we are facing this year, it seems to have the most powerful air conditioning. It cools the car pretty quickly, and it's also not noisy. You don't need to have it on, like its fourth position to get the car cooler. It seems to do a little bit more of an efficient job on cooling. And as always, now we look at the prices too. The Kwid is the slightly bigger car, and so it seems to command a slight premium too. Variant for variant, it's higher priced. But its space, handling and customization options mean that buyers don't seem to mind too much. The Redi-Go though is the opposite end of the spectrum. Datsun is aiming to offer a more contemporary package than the Alto, like the Hyundai Eon had when it first came to the party. But unlike the Eon, the Redi-Go undercuts the Alto on price. So the choice becomes quite easy for me. This is the most compelling the Alto 800 has ever been. But it still takes the bronze medal here. The Redi-Go almost does enough, but falls short on sheer drivability, and so it must settle for silver. And the superior road manners and drive feel of the Kwid, despite its slightly higher prices, takes gold and takes the Renault through as the winner.